Welcome to Narratives Leadership Story Talks, where great leaders go beyond the bottom line to create lasting impact. Join hosts Jerome Deroy and Julienne Ryan as they uncover the stories behind real-world challenges, offering practical insights to help you lead with empathy, authenticity, and purpose. Each episode dives into how leaders use storytelling to build trust, foster connection, and inspire action. Whether you're navigating workplace dynamics, driving change, or building high-performing teams.
There was a special moment, Jerome, where I was at my door, right? And my son, he was 6 years at this point of time. He was coming to me and said, "Hey, Daddy, yeah, you need to tell me that you will not stay so long away from us like in past." And Jerome, trust me or not, I was really shocked. I was really, telling him straight without thinking about, for sure, I will promise you, I will do my very best not to stay too long, too far away, like I did the years before, right? And this was a moment where this special situation happened, where I really started to think about if everything what I do is the right thing straightforward, or if there's a certain need for change, right?
All right, welcome back. We just listened to Sascha Schick from Germany and Any Help Now, previously a big corporate executive who then chose to go back into startup mode and is now really disrupting this market of services and how you get services in Germany. Particular. It was really fascinating to me, this excerpt. Again, we could have chosen many different things because there was a lot in there. But I chose to go with this moment that he described with his, I think 6-year-old son, telling him, "Daddy, I don't want you to travel as much. Promise me that, you'll stay closer." Because I remember Sascha telling me that when I actually met him, he was still a corporate executive. And he told me that about 80% of his time was on the road, traveling all over the world. And so he's very, very, not at home a lot at all. And so, you can just imagine the effect that had. And he says it when his son told him that. And then he actually said, "Okay, I promise you I'm not going to go away for too long." And then he, decided, "Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this thing and start this enterprise." So just very inspiring to see that and hear that. What were your thoughts?
Well, I am a big fan of his son because I think he represented the gift of honest feedback. And here's a 6-year-old. He's not reading performance management manuals. He's not reading trend articles, and he's not hanging out and listening to all the road warriors tell about their experience. He just gave a feedback of how he was experiencing the household. Well, he had, what he was missing and what he was hoping for. But I believe that's part of what we need when we are looking to develop ourselves, is to have sounding boards, trusted sounding boards that give us the feedback of how they're experiencing us in different situations. We can take assessments, granted there's great ones out there, but it's also the dialogue of saying, I know he had good intentions. I'm taking care of my family, leading a company. I want to do right by my team. I have all these pressures. But he was open, Sascha was open to the feedback and really took it as a learning prompt. So I think having your advisory committee, your inner circle, and some of your friends, and sometimes we get feeling comfortable about it, but they can really help us learn and get out of our own way and take some of the blinders off. So I think that was very admirable that Sascha shared that story. And then he did share about his son afterwards. His son is coming up with his own performance management program. So one of the conversations that came back from school is he's saying, the kids are talking about, I want to be a fireman, a policeman, maybe, be a doctor. And he's like, "No, I want to be a CEO in my father's company." So he's probably coming up with an organizational structure and a training program as we speak. So
Yeah, exactly. No, I love that. And the other thing that this kind of made me think about was, Sascha is the founder of this company called Any Help Now, and he brought together a team to help him and support him in putting this out there. And now he's got this small team, and it's interesting because he's got this origin story of why he left that job and started this one, and then he's also got an origin story of why this company even exists. What makes it a very special kind of service, unique service from his point of view, and he's got a personal story about that. And it just made me think about, once again, of so many people that come to us, and companies and teams tell us, well, there's this great founder story, that's there on our website. And if the founder is still around, that founder still tells it, et cetera.
Mhm.
But how do I make this my own? How does my team, the person that just walked into this office a week, 2 weeks ago, is brand new to the team? How do we, what's our story? Is our story just as valuable as the founder story? Not sure. How does that work? And I think these are the kinds of questions that we get a lot. And to me, even if there is that very powerful founder story, it's an inspiring one, and it's one that you can certainly use to attract followers, et cetera, and even recruit people. But I also think that, people need to have their own story of what it's like to work in that company, what it's like to sell this service or product, what it's like to be in this team. What has this done for you? What are your values? What's your own personal mission of being in this company, not just the mission, the corporate mission? And that's where I think having your own story really helps, because it kind of helps clarify where you are in the organization, what you do, why you do it, and how you do it. Whereas when you're only kind of sort of counting on, oh, wow, look at this great founder story, it's gonna muddy the waters a little bit, and you're not gonna feel as important, really, or as essential as that CEO or that founder. So just yeah, that's something that I think the origin story is a concept that anyone can take on. Not just the founder. Yeah.
And this stories, and you're hitting on my buttons because I approached this work backwards. I was doing it. I didn't know there was theories, neuroscience about when I was recruiting and doing HR years ago, because I felt I needed to show people what the reality was of working in the organization, the good, the bad, the ugly. Be an informed consumer of when you
Mm,
come. This is what's
mm,
going to happen. Don't tell me I didn't tell you. But it also shared little mini stories about it. And I didn't know. I thought that was just being engaging in conversation. But then even in the group, it makes a difference. Before I got on the call with you, this I was doing a debrief with a client, and we were talking about giving context, and some mini examples and stories can help the team gather and understand why you're on a mission to do certain things as a new leader, and taking your lessons learned. Not saying everything's perfect, but giving context can get people to listen differently than feeling like they're being told for a reason. And every time we share a story, it's an opportunity for somebody to give an opinion, ask more questions. So I do believe that's so, so important about asking and telling and being the first one to offer. So
mm,
before there was theories, I was doing it kind of ass backwards. I was learning, and so as it going, and then I met narrative and a few others and learned there is a science. So to trust that, it's free when you do it the right way. You can help people understand where you're coming from and then understand what you're doing. And
mm,
it can't always happen in a text. You can't do it by text. Can't do it in an email. You need to layer your communications. If you have some good dialogues that are rich with a story or an analogy or even just a simple explanation, then the rest of it can flow much easier because the person is reading now your emails and your texts with your voice, and
mm.
breaking past some of their assumptions, and sometimes it's negative assumptions of what you're trying to deliver. So yeah, very opinionated, I know. Today I'm on a roll. So
No, that's great. No, I love it. Yeah, no, for sure. It's yeah, just I think what we're talking about is really the value of finding your own story and crafting it. And presenting that to people in different ways, you know, and then choosing the kind of medium that's gonna put that story forward in the best way. Yeah, I think that, you know, I certainly went through in my career a time where I was thinking that, you know, storytelling was for others essentially,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that, because there were many different strong stories in the organization, from the founders and directors, et cetera. But then, and also because nobody really encouraged us, you know, the general employees to sort of have a story. But the moment that I left that position and needed to, you know, talk about myself more, that's where storytelling really helped. But I think that if you encourage anyone in the organization to bring up their story, you're going to bring up many different voices. And when you bring up different voices, you get different ideas. And when you get different ideas, you get innovation. And that's really essential to any organization.
And it's about intergroup. It's not about, like we said, we've referenced Pearl Alexander in another podcast about kind of little introduction, conversations. It's learning about those groups because there's always factions, there's always tensions. HR was always tense with finance, IT, different departments, there's myths. So when you break the ice and say, well, this is what we're about, or you figure out ways for people to have collaboration at meetings or some things in person to really break through that, you can get a lot more things done. It stops being us versus them. And then realizing, oh, that's why you're doing it. Okay, maybe we can figure out a workaround or assumptions we're making about the other department. Everybody always thinks they're working harder than everybody else. It's just a given.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be a tourist. You got to show up and take a leap of faith and build some bridges with other areas if you really want to be saner
Yeah.
in your work. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, take that leap of faith. And if people want to hear more, certainly go to the episode with Sascha Schick, and you can hear the whole story. He talks about getting out of his comfort zone and how that's been a motto in his whole career. It's very inspiring to listen to, and especially if you're at a point in your career where you're kind of wondering what the next step is, or without necessarily leaving your job, but just how can you get to that next level? That's a great episode to listen to. And if you're inspired by this and this session in particular, you can also come to us at Narrative, NARATIV.com, find out about our training programs where we really do help people figure out, what is that story that you've got that needs to be told and that could potentially take you to that next level or show you the way in terms of your next step in your career. So don't hesitate to get in touch. You can find us at narrative.com. You can find all of our episodes at narrative.com as well, and a bunch of other resources. We're always happy to listen to you. So
What you learned, if something comes to mind about something that worked for you, put it in the comment section. We love hearing other people's wins. I got it this morning in an email. So please share what's worked for you. Other people are going to be excited and curious about what you've done. So it's not just all about us.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And thanks again for being my co-host, Jules. And thanks everyone for listening. And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
For more information on the narrative listening and storytelling method and how it can help your business, go to narrative.com.